Hello guys, ito na naman ang minimum wager nyo. At simulan na natin ang ano bang masasabi ng bolang kristal ng AI dito sa debate ni Atty. Libayan at ni Chris Tan. Okay? So, tanong muna natin. So, yan, inalam muna rin natin, nag-research naman tayo kung ano yung naging problema. At eto nga, may nakuha tayong 3 problema, pero diretso na tayo sa masasabi ni AI sa naging argumento nila o sa debate nila. Isimulan na natin, makinig tayo sa AI. Sa pinakamalakas na bolang kristal.
Here are some key issues and procedural challenges in the impeachment process against Vice President Sara Duterte.
Teka lang, kasi magboboses. Ipis din siya, katulad ko. So, palitan natin. Okay, ayan na. Play na natin.
Here are some key issues and procedural challenges in the impeachment process against Vice President Sara Duterte. What went wrong with the process? 1. Violation of the one-year bar rule. The Supreme Court ruled unanimously that filing multiple impeachment complaints within a single year violated the Constitution. Only one impeachment case per official is allowed annually, and since there were 4 complaints, though only one was transmitted to the Senate, the process was deemed unconstitutional. Citing na turn searcher. 2. Senate procedural delays and political maneuvering. The Senate never formally commenced the trial. Minority senators attempted to push for immediate proceedings, but senior leadership delayed it. A resolution was even introduced to terminate the trial entirely. This political wrangling meant the Senate didn't move forward with the impeachment as intended. Cite turn search. Aish 3. Supreme Court intervention over separation of powers. Critics argue that the Supreme Court overstepped, intervening in what is constitutionally the Senate's jurisdiction, the power to conduct impeachment trials. By halting the process on procedural grounds, the court stopped the trial from going forward entirely. Cita News 19 turn search. Summary of problems. Problem, description. Rule violation. Multiple complaints in a year violated the constitutional one-year rule. Senate inaction. The impeachment trial stalled due to procedural delays and political opposition. Judicial overreach. The Supreme Court's intervention halted the trial before it began, raising concerns over separation of powers. This impeachment process highlights how technicalities, political calculations, and legal rulings can derail accountability, even in high-stakes cases. Would you like a more detailed breakdown of the Senate's constitutional powers or public reactions to the SC ruling? Recent news on this impeachment. Turn News 19, turn to News 23.
So, ayun yung summary ng mga points dito sa what went wrong sa process. Pero, skip muna natin to kasi tanong natin ito, what can you say about their debate and how Libayan reacted? At yan, pakinggan natin.
Here's a balanced take on the debate between Atty. Libayan and Chris Tan, as well as how Libayan's reactions shaped public perception. Key issues from the debate. 1. Shift from substance to personal attacks. According to Reddit discussions, many felt Atty. Libayan resorted to ad hominem remarks, calling Mr. Tan Bobo or Shunga, without providing solid legal arguments. cite-turn-cern search. Users criticized that instead of explaining why Tan was wrong, Libayan relied on insults, which undermined the quality of debate. 2. Entrance of emotion over reason. Numerous commentators noted that Libayan's behavior felt like a betrayal of his own teachings. One pointed out, for years, Atty Libayan lectured against ad hominem, and when emotions are high, intelligence is low. Cite-turn-search. This perceived emotional reaction caused a credibility gap between his past principles and current behavior. 3. Viewer reception favored Tan. Community reactions largely sided with Chris Tan. One Redditor said, "They tried to argue with Chris Tan and used his attorney ID card. In the end, Chris Tan looked more like an attorney with his arguments." Cite-turn-search. Another praised Tan's preparation. Chris Tan did his homework and halatang napapikon yung abogado. Summary table aspect observation. Emotional tone. Argument style Atty. Libayan leaned into personal attacks instead of law. Emotional tone. Vlogger known for staying rational was seen as reactive. Public reception. Chris Tan came across as calm, prepared, and effective. Credibility impact. Libayan's shift affected audience trust in his discourse. Would you like a polished commentary or summary, perhaps a social media post, that reflects these insights while staying constructive and respectful?
So, ayun guys, doon umikot yung kanilang debate sa fallacies. Ito yung mga fallacy, yung ad hominem o attack sa person. Yun, na yung nangyari dito. Hindi naman in-explain yung mga mga tinanong niya kay Chris Tan, na tinatanong niya si Chris Tan kung alam ba niya talaga yung definition nito. Hindi naman niya dinefine kung anong gusto niyang dapat o ano yung tamang definition. At ang nangyari na lang ay yung puro bobo. Syunga. At yan, nag-check din tayo ng educational background nila. At yun, sa pakikinig nga sa kanila. Sa English pa lang, sa grammar, syempre mas lamang si Chris Tan. So, pero ba't gano'n ang nangyari dito? Instead na matuto tayo, puro yun lang, ad hominem, puro fallacy ang mga narinig natin dito. So, tanongin natin, pa-criticize natin sa ating bolang kristal, si Atty. Libayan.
Criticizing Atty Libayan, who runs Batas Natin on YouTube, fairly means pointing out areas where his approach can be problematic, without dismissing his legal expertise entirely. Here are some common criticisms I've observed from viewers and analysts. Tone can be dismissive or condescending. He often uses sarcasm, name-calling, bobo being the most notorious, and mockery toward people he disagrees with. While this can make his videos entertaining to fans, it sometimes undermines the professionalism expected from a lawyer in public discourse. 2. Oversimplification of complex legal issues. Some critiques point out that he tends to present legal situations in overly black and white terms, when real-world law often has gray areas. This approach can mislead casual viewers who take his interpretation as the only correct one. Mixing legal commentary with personal bias. His political or personal biases sometimes seep into his analysis, especially when discussing public figures or hot-button political issues. This can make his commentary feel less objective and more like entertainment or advocacy. 4. Showmanship over substance. While he is skilled at catching attention, critics argue that his viral moments, like heated reactions or insults, sometimes overshadow the legal point he's trying to make. In debates or exchanges, this style can come across as defensive rather than persuasive. 5. Audience polarization. His blunt style tends to polarize audiences. Supporters see him as a truth teller who doesn't sugarcoat. Critics see him as abrasive and unprofessional. This polarization can reduce the chance for constructive dialogue, especially with those who might learn from a calmer explanation. Bottom line, Atty Libayan is knowledgeable and engaging, but his delivery, often sharp, sarcastic, and personal, can alienate some audiences and risk overshadowing the educational value of his content. If he aimed for a more measured tone, his legal insights might reach and influence a broader range of viewers. If you want, I can also compare his debating style to someone like Alma Santiago to highlight the difference between an academic logic approach and a more aggressive courtroom YouTube style. Would you like me to do that?
So, hindi na natin papagawa yun. Pero, tingnan natin reaction ni Bolang Kristal kay Mr. Tan. Saka dito guys, yung nandun kasi ako sa channel ni Atty. Libayan. Grabe yung mga chat ng mga kanyang followers. Bobo, mga ganun. Aray ko. So, puro ganun. Parang nanghirap naman tignan, basahin yung ganun. Mga, hindi ko alam kung ang yayaman ba ng mga taong yon para malitin lang nila si Mr. Tan. Siguro ang yayaman ng mga yon para ganun lang sila, parang kanilang idol na si Atty. Libayan. So at least dito naman, nung nakita ko sa channel ni Mr. Tan, mas marami siyang views. Wow. At least mas marami siyang views. At yan, hintayin na natin yung reaction ng ating magaling na bolang kristal.
Mr. Tan's style, based on how he engages with Atty Libayan and other online personalities, tends to be 1. More composed, but still provocative. He usually keeps his tone more level compared to Libayan's fiery delivery, but he still throws in pointed remarks meant to challenge or provoke a reaction. This can make him look calmer on the surface, but the intent behind his statements is often just as confrontational. 2. Leans on public perception over technicalities. While Atty Libayan digs into legal frameworks and procedural technicalities, Mr. Tan tends to focus on how situations appear to the general public. This can make his points easier to digest for casual audiences, but sometimes less rigorous in legal grounding. 3. Confidence as a weapon. Even without the same legal credentials, Mr. Tan delivers his points with strong confidence, enough to make casual viewers think his interpretation is equally authoritative. This works well in debates where perception matters as much as substance. Knows how to trigger opponents. Whether intentional or not, he knows how to press on points that frustrate or irritate the other side, something that can throw an opponent off balance. In his exchanges with Libayan, this is especially clear. He gets under Libayan's skin without needing to shout or insult directly. 5. Risk of overreaching. The downside to his style is that when he overstates a claim or lacks supporting facts, critics can quickly call him out for not having the same depth of expertise. If the opponent is calm and fact-focused, this weakness becomes more visible. Overall reaction. Mr. Tan plays the public debater role well. Measured voice, relatable framing, and a knack for poking at pressure points. But when going up against someone with deep technical or legal grounding, his arguments can risk feeling shallow unless he backs them up with solid evidence. His main strength is rhetorical composure, which can make him look like the reasonable one, even in a heated clash. If you want, I can do a side-by-side breakdown of how Mr. Tan and Atty Libayan handle debates so you can see exactly why their exchanges blow up online. That would make the contrast really clear.
So, ayun guys. Narinig naman natin ng ating bolang kristal. At kahit ako, nagtataka, mas compose pa si Mr. Tan sa isang abogado. na kailangan magtaas ng boses sa isang debate. Tapos natatawa ako sa kanyang fans, sa concept ng mga fans niya, kung sino yung mataas ang boses, siya yung nananalo. Hindi yung taong compose at alam yung kanyang side na hindi siya law expert. Hindi siya abogado. So, ayun. At tignan natin yung style nila. I-compare naman natin. So, compare natin yung style ni attorney sa academic sa debate. Kasi, ayun, may yun, mga symposiums na pinuntahan ko kasi ay hindi rin naman talaga gano'n nagsisigawan na tumataas yung boses. Yung mga napupunta ako symposium. Kaya, yan, paalam natin sa... Tignan natin, ano masasabi ng ating bolang kristal?
If we compare Atty Libayan's debating style to someone from a more academic or professorial background, the differences stand out immediately. Delivery and demeanor. Atty Libayan, loud, animated, confrontational, uses tone and volume to dominate space, sometimes to intimidate. Interrupts or talks over if he feels the other person's point is weak or misleading. Quick to use blunt language, bobo, tanga, as part of his rhetorical punch. Academic debater, e.g., logic professor like Alma Santiago. Calm, controlled, rarely raises voice. Lets opponent finish, then dismantles point with evidence or logical traps. Avoids ad hominem in favor of structured refutation. Keeps vocabulary formal and neutral even when disagreeing sharply. Number 2. Argument structure. Libayan relies on rapid-fire rebuttals and sharp counterpoints. Often jumps straight to what he thinks is the fatal flaw of the opponent's point. Sometimes sacrifices depth for speed and impact. Academic builds a chain of reasoning step by step, cites principles, frameworks, or empirical data before concluding, anticipates counter-arguments in advance, and neutralizes them methodically. Number 3. Audience appeal. Libayan plays to the emotional reaction of his audience. His viewers often watch for the mic drop moments. Style works well in a political or entertainment-driven setting where quick impact matters more than technical precision. Academic plays to intellectual engagement of the audience. Seeks to leave the listener thinking deeply rather than clapping. Style is more suited to classrooms, academic panels, and formal forums. Number 4. Strengths and weaknesses. Libayan strengths. Passion and charisma can overwhelm less confident opponents. Strong legal background gives weight to his law-based points. Can simplify complex legal issues into punchy takeaways. Libayan weaknesses. Aggression can be mistaken for arrogance. Personal attacks can alienate neutral observers. Tends to dismiss opposing points without fully dissecting them. Academic strengths. Precision, structure, and consistency build credibility over time. Calm tone makes it easier to win over neutral audiences. Can expose flawed reasoning without appearing hostile. Academic weaknesses. Slower pace can seem boring to casual viewers. Might lose ground in an emotionally charged or time-limited debate. Summary. Libayan fights like a courtroom brawler. Quick strikes, loud presence, emotionally charged. An academic fights like a chess master, slow, deliberate, methodical. In a viral setting like YouTube, Libayan's energy grabs attention, but in a peer-reviewed forum, the academic's discipline usually wins the respect of experts. If you want, I can simulate a sample debate script showing Libayan versus an academic, so you can see exactly how their clash would unfold. That would make the contrast even more obvious.
So, ayun guys. Salamat sa'yo, bolang kristal, sa iyong opinion dito sa pinanood kong debate. So, kayo guys, comment down below kung ano yung nagustuhan nyo at hindi nyo nagustuhan, o comment nyo lang kung ano. So, kwento ko lang konting kwento kay Atty. Libayan. So, pinanonood ko siya noon kasi anti-poverty porn siya. Pero, yun, kasi ayoko rin talaga ng poverty porn. Yun sa pinakaayaw ko. Marami kang views, kumikita ka na malaki. Ako, wala akong views. Gagawa pa rin akong videos, kaya kahit wala akong views. At yung poverty porn, napakadaling gumawa ng poverty porn. Magpakain ka lang, dali mo sa Jollibee, marami nang gumawa niyan. Bigyan mo ng pera. Minsan nga iba, 20 lang. Pina-poverty porn na nila. So, yung isang nagustuhan ko noon kay Atty. Libayan. Pero yung mga, yun nga, yung paano niya tawagin yung kausap niya na bobo, o kaya ayaw kong kausap niya kasi hindi abogado, which is fallacy. Attack o sa ano yun, sa person. At yun nga yung sa mga crypto, nagalit siya sa nagki-crypto nun. Kahit na may marami kasing trader. At hindi naman nag-a-aksi lang, hindi naman aksi lang ang alam. At saka yung mga nag-a-aksi, mga walang pambili usually ng kanilang team, mga scholar. At yung totoong trader, sila yung mayroong yung mga manager noon. Siyempre may mga bumili at dahil sa hype, sa lahat naman, ganun. Pero, ayun, pagka tinatawag mong bobo, katulad niyan maraming kumikita o maraming magaling na trader na nasa crypto na. At ayun, yun lang naman. So, hanggang dito na lang siguro. Bye-bye! Salamat, Bolang Kristal!